So for those of you that may not know, today, Tuesday, September 9th, marks the start of Year 7 Season 2, and we now have the ability to actually craft exotics in the game by farming for certain blueprints. Therefore, today, my friends, we're going to talk about exactly how this new system works, what you need to do to craft these things, and as always, answer some of the questions you've sent the channel. Alright, my fellow agents, welcome back to the Gaming Brigade, and I know from many of you out there watching this video, you have been waiting for this feature to be introduced into the game for a very long time, because one thing I hear from a lot of players out there is you're trying to get certain exotics, and no matter what you do, you can never get the one you're actually looking for. You know, I hear from people saying they're trying to get the Memento backpack, all they do is get a Costa's Go bag, or you're trying to get St. Elmo's engine and you get the Chameleon nonstop. Now with that being said, there happens to be a lot of information we need to cover in regard to this new farming system, and as always, I will leave timestamps in the video description. That way, if you already know what I'm talking about, you can bounce in between sections anytime you want. So the first thing we're going to cover in the video is how do you actually get these exotic blueprints to drop in the first place, and the short answer is simple. You need to play the new open world feature Retaliation. That is the only way you can get any of these blueprints. Now as you can see on screen, the faction that you choose to target is going to be dependent on what exotic blueprint you're actually trying to get. So making our way from left to right, starting with the Rikers, if you're trying to get the Bullet King, the Ninja Bike Backpack, or the Bloody Knuckles, you need to take out a Rikers Kill Squad. Next we have the True Sons, and those Kill Squad blueprints are as follows. We have Lady Death, Dr. Home, the Catharsis, St. Elmo's Engine, Dread Edict, Busy Little Bee, the Shocker Punch, and the Pecan. And right below that, if you actually complete the Retaliation of that faction, there is a chance you can get the blueprint for the blue screen, the BTSU gloves, the Tardigrade, and the Exodus gloves as well. Moving on to the Outcast, we have the Kill Squad blueprints, we have the Backfire, the Pestilence, Sweet Dreams, Collector, Memento, Acosta's Go bag, and Acosta's knee pads. And as you can see right below that, we have the completion blueprints for that faction. That is the Vile Mask, Rugged Gauntlets, Waveform Holster, and the Nimble Holster as well. Continuing on to the Hyenas, the Kill Squad blueprints are the Merciless, Coyote's Mask, Sawyer's knee pads, the Overlord Shotgun, we have the Strega, Centurion's Scabbard, Sacrum Imperium, and the Oxpecker SMG. The completion blueprints are the Chameleon, Mosquito, Mantis, and the Scorpio. Last but not least, we have the Cleaners and their exotic blueprint loot pool. I'll say that 10 times. That is going to consist of the Iron Lung LMG, the Ninja Bike knee pads, and the Imperial Dynasty holster. Now it's incredibly important to mention as we move on to the actual farming methods, none of these are guaranteed. There's a chance for them to drop. The higher the difficulty is going to equate to a better chance, so as always, you want to farm in the highest difficulty you possibly can. Now at this point, we're going to talk about exactly how Retaliation works, and as you can see at the top of the map, we now have a new tab that says Retaliation, and you will also notice the different factions I just mentioned. Now when it comes to filling up the agitation meters, the first thing you're going to do is decide what faction you're going after, and then you're going to go to the area of the map that faction controls, and in order to actually earn progression, all you need to do is pretty much play the damn game. You know what I mean? You can earn progression by doing open world activities, missions, control points. And you will also notice that we now have a new daily project linked to Retaliation, and all you need to do is complete the project and it will immediately get one of the factions to 100% agitation, which means you can jump right in, get the loot, do all that good stuff. Now for the record, you can do these objectives on any difficulty that you want, so if you want to save time, drop it down to normal, rip through the content, you can do that. And once you've completed the objective, you then have the option of changing your world difficulty to whatever you want to before you actually activate the Retaliation. And of course, I want to show you an example of exactly what I'm talking about. So once you've completed the objective, you will hear there's a notification saying that, the faction you're targeting has now taken over an area. Which brings me to one important detail, and that is the following. Once you've actually gotten one of the faction meters to 100%, you have 6 hours to activate the Retaliation. Now if you don't do it, the meter's just going to go back to 0. There's no penalty or anything like that. And as you can see, in order to complete this Outcast Retaliation, we need to regain control of 3 control points in this area. Now, as I said a moment ago, always remember you have the option of changing the difficulty before you activate the Retaliation. Now, to give you a quick example, let's say you're playing on Heroic, you activate the meter 100%, and you realize, you know what, that's going to be a little too tough. I want to try it on Challenging first just to get a feel for it. You can see all I did was change my world difficulty. Once that's done, I reopen up my map, scroll back over to Retaliation, and then I can fire this thing up whenever I'm ready, as long as it is within that 6-hour window I previously mentioned. Now, I know many of you out there watching this video are currently thinking, well, besides that whole daily project thing, what are the best ways to actually level up that meter as quickly as possible? And having said that, I am in the process of putting together a video showing you the most efficient ways to farm, and I will bring that to you by the end of the week. Now at this point, I'm going to give you a step-by-step guide on how to complete a retaliation, and the first thing I'm going to point out is the fact that in the upper right-hand corner, you will see an icon that says Maneuver. Now that is going to give you extra time if you choose to complete it. Now that brings us to one topic that I know a lot of you out there are thinking at this very moment, and you're like, you know what, this seems great, but timers, man, I do not like being rushed. And in full transparency, I'm really not a fan of timers either, but so far, and I've done this on every difficulty, time has never been an issue. Now I know another question a lot of players have is what happens if you actually die when you're in the middle of a retaliation. Now once again, to give you a quick example, when I died I was at 7 minutes and 9 seconds, I was then given a 1 minute penalty. That brings me down to 6 minutes and 7 seconds, and as the screen is loading, the clock is still running, and you can see right now I'm at 5 minutes and 55 seconds. And at this point, all you need to do is hustle your ass back to that control point, take out that first wave of NPC. Once you do, you're going to see the prompt that says Initiate Retake. You're going to hit that. More enemies are going to show up. You're going to take them out really quick, and once you've recaptured the area, you're going to get an extra 4 minutes and 30 seconds, which is a lifetime in this game mode. Like it definitely is. Now at this point, my friends, we're going to talk about kill squads, and this is one of the ways you're going to be able to get those exotic blueprints, and they can pop up when you're moving from one control point to another, so you want to make sure you keep your head on a swivel. Now typically when you run into one of these kill squads, they are going to have 5 members, and you're going to see a thrower, you're going to see support, you're going to see someone with heavy weapons, you're going to see a tank, and shit gets sideways pretty damn quick. So again, keep your head on that swivel. You will see here in a moment, once I've taken out the final kill squad member, not only am I given an extra 3 minutes and 30 seconds for taking out the kill squad, but more importantly, I'm given the blueprint for the memento backpack, and I will circle back to that at the very end after we've completed this entire retaliation. Now at this point, we are going to skip ahead to the third and final control point, and once you've cleared the final one, you will see an indication on screen that says territory has been defended. And then you're done, my friends. You are then given a 30-second timer, and it's concluding, whatever it is. Then you're taken to the following page, which is going to show you your rewards. Now, as you can see, I did complete all 3 control points, which means I do get a completion bonus. And you can see at the very bottom, one of those bonus items was the blueprint for the waveform. And it took me 7 minutes and 28 seconds to complete this thing. I got a bunch of stuff. I got 2 exotic blueprints for my time. So for those of you out there who have been trying to get certain exotics and you want to actually target farm, you finally have the option to do so. And at this point, we are going to make our way to the base of operations, and the first thing you need to do is speak to Anaya. She is located right next to the crafting bench, and you want to buy all of the following blueprints. Now for those of you that may be interested, over the next few days I will be putting together a video talking about all the different blueprints, and not only that, the different ways you can efficiently farm for anything you may need to craft whatever you're trying to do. Now we actually make our way to the workbench. You can see at the very bottom there is a new exotic tab, and as we scroll down through the different categories, it will let you know exactly what you're going to need to actually craft them. We are going to make our way to the backpack really quick. You can see the memento is lit up, and it also shows you all of the resources you will need to craft this thing. You can see that we do need more biohazardous canisters, which means we're going to have to jump back into retaliation again, go after the outcast. And once you've gotten all the resources you need, my fellow agents, you can finally craft that exotic you've been trying to get. Hope this helped you out, my friends, and as always, questions, comments, or feedback, please let me know, and I'll do my best to get back to you as quick as I can. Now, as I start to wrap this video up, I know a lot of you out there already have every single exotic in the game, and you're wondering what is your incentive for actually jumping into retaliation. Thankfully, as you can see on screen, we now have the ability to actually craft reconstructed caches and something called a New York Kill Squad cache as well. You can see the resources that are required, and as I said earlier, over the next few days I promise to bring you a video showing you the most efficient ways to farm for whatever resources you may be looking for. On that note, I'm going to start to wrap this up. As always, I want to take a moment and thank you all for your incredible continued support. Please let me know of any other questions you have I did not address. Thank you once again for the privilege of your time, and as I mention at the end of every one of these, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.